When the universe started to realize that it was able to create beings from its own body, in the sixth dimension, the architects of the universe started to create realities and beings through which the universe could understand itself from different perspectives in different life forms. From there, two ways of understanding the self were born. One is unconscious, and one is conscious. For the unconscious beings, this path is about survival and how they can have as many resources to themselves. Hence, they divided themselves by race, religion, skin color, and country, having governments or rulers to govern the people and societies and manage the resources. For conscious beings, they understood that the entire universe was just one being who divided itself into billions of beings so it could observe and understand itself from different perspectives as much as possible. We were all parts of its body. Therefore, our mission here was to build a path of consciousness to understanding the self by understanding ourselves. So in the fourth and fifth dimensions, when they started designing the system of the awareness of consciousness, they needed to make sure that by the time every being, group, and civilization became aware of who they truly were, they could share the information with others and build an organization that could help the entire body of a planet, star system, galaxy, and universe to become aware of itself as well and be organized on the path to consciousness. Because the entire universe is a symbiotic being, galaxies are the organs of the universe, planets are cells, and beings living on different planets are molecules. So if every organ, every cell, and every molecule can be aware of itself, it will help the entire body to be aware of itself. The first ones who created this idea were the Pleadians. They live in the fifth dimension, and they can see the subtle realities that people living in the third dimension couldn't perceive. They can see every process in the fourth dimension and all the evolutionary patterns of the third dimension from the fifth dimension. That's why they were traveling through galaxies, trying to reach and search for unconscious beings who were evolving into the third and fourth dimensions and were about to become aware of themselves as civilizations using tools like cultures and languages to understand the universe. When an unconscious species becomes conscious by recognizing they are the cells or neurons of the planet they are inhabiting, and they exist because the planet is thinking about who it is, they would now be able to resonate with others. Once you become aware of the entire body that you are a part of, for example, a planet or a galaxy, you will recognize that as a cell, you are vibrating at the same level with this body. Therefore, vibration is the key to understanding how they connect with each other. When the entire planet thinks in the same way, but at the same time recognizes the importance of each individual on this planet, each individual would be like a self of the planet, being aware of the power they have in the bigger self, which is the planet. This will create a perfect harmony that will resonate with other cells in other star systems or galaxies, which are at the same level of vibration. They are all connected by vibrations. When they start to resonate with each other, they will be listening to the same song from other planets, and this resonance will align them to the same process. They can also travel through time in the fourth dimension through vibration. This is how they start to communicate through the mind with other planets and create this bond between all of them that they are ready to become the cells to awaken the entire body that we call a galaxy. Therefore, what the Pleiadians were doing was searching for those planets around the galaxy. When they reached them, they would seed the information of the fifth dimension on the more aware beings so they could feel the path to the self. This is what we call channeling, or receiving messages, or listening to the voices of angels. They were not angels, actually. They were Pleiadians talking from the fifth dimension, saying to us that we had a purpose, and our purpose was to unite and find ourselves through cultures and civilizations and reach the divine through matter. That's why they were guiding other species in the galaxies on the path of evolution so that they could build civilizations that would help them find a proper way to see the whole picture of the universe. They achieved this through people in the third dimension. When they reached planets in evolution on the path to consciousness in the third dimension, like Arcturus and Sirius, who reached a level of evolution and awareness of realizing who they were. They recognized that they were not a species on a planet, but the thinking of the planet they inhabit in flesh and blood. When they recognize that, this is the moment when the civilizations and species become the consciousness of the planet. It is the moment when the Pleadians realize that those planets are ready to join this organization and help others realize who they are. This is how the Galactic Confederation was created from Sirius and Arcturus in the third and fourth dimensions. In the Confederation, there are different levels of organizations. In the fifth dimension, there are the 9 Lords of Light and the 9 Lords of Darkness. The 9 Lords of Darkness rules the process of the third dimension and every evolutionary pattern. The 9 Lords of Light is like a brotherhood of light workers that helps to find the purpose and the path through the third dimension. The 18 of them represent the flower of life and every cell on the evolutionary paths on every planet. In the fifth dimension, they are working to build this idea of how everything works and how everything should be in harmony. The main goal of the Confederation was to bring harmony to all evolutionary processes. If there was a planet that was resonating in a wrong way, they would bring people to those planets to make it resonate better, so the galaxies would be in harmony. Therefore, the beings of the Confederation organized something like the UN of the galaxy. They are civilizations that travel through space using time and spaceships, or UFOs, that look like spheres of light. They will have meetings and gatherings to discuss how to achieve harmony in the process of reaching consciousness. There are many species in the Confederation from the third, fourth, and fifth dimensions, a lot of which we don't know the names of. However, the most important members are Sirians, Orions, Arcturians, and Pleadians. Even though Pleiadians were not physical, they would talk to the leaders of the Confederation most of the time. Normally, members with physical shapes that are similar to humans, having physical bodies, cities, parliaments, and civilizations like ours, are more well known to us. The Confederation is an organization where different civilizations and species from different planets, galaxies, and dimensions are working together to achieve balance. They are in the fourth dimension and can see the entire evolutionary process of every being. What they usually do is scan the vibration of the planet from the fourth dimension to see how it's resonating and whether it's harmonious. If the vibration is low, they will know that we are still living in the past, working on our problems. This is how the vibration of the universe works. If you vibrate high, you are close to the future. And if you vibrate low, you are close to the past. If our vibration is low, it means we are still living in the past. So they cannot help us directly, because the process of consciousness is an internal process rather than an external one. We should look for the God within instead of searching for the God outside. That's why they cannot interfere with our evolutionary process. They can only watch and observe. There are many beings who are observing our process. We can sometimes see their spaceships, like spheres of light appearing in the sky. Some of them would leave messages on the fields, like the crop circles, to provide information that would be helpful for us. They use portals to send these geometric messages through time and vibration. They would look into our level of vibration, how our chakras are working, going from one planet to another, to see how the pulses of vibration of our planet affect other planets, and how the magnetic vibration of our planet is affecting other planets, and whether it has reached the entire solar system or galaxy, or is affecting the sun. That's when they will take part in the process of resonance. So they are watching us all the time, just like we are watching ourselves from the future.